Hi, my name is Kirsten Tibballs and today I'm showcasing Maldon Sea Salt and showing you the advantages of using it in sweet desserts. I'm going to be creating layers of Pavlova and caramel ice cream to create a cake. You're going to love it. I'm starting with the Pavlova. Make sure your egg whites are at room temperature to get the most aeration out of them before you start whipping. We're going to add some cream of tartar. Cream of tartar is going to give you a smoother meringue. The hero of the dish, Maldon Sea Salt. Just take a small pinch and we're going to add that into the egg white. I'm going to start whisking. Once it hits a medium peak, I'm going to gradually add in the caster sugar. So this is a medium peak. We're going to gradually add in the sugar. Vinegar. A little bit of a trick, adding some water makes the Pavlova more stable. Cornstarch, vanilla bean paste. Exactly what we're looking for, a nice glossy meringue. Milk chocolate chips, lightly toasted almonds. Just gently fold those through. I've marked baking paper with the template. Place a little bit of the mixture in each corner so you can secure the paper. Divide the mixture evenly between the 3 templates. Smooth it out, but stay within the lines. We're going to bake these in a fan-forced oven at 100 degrees Celsius for approximately 2.5 to 3 hours. If they start to brown at all, turn the temperature down 10 degrees. Once they're cooked, turn the oven off, leave the door ajar and leave them in for a few hours or until they cool. Now the Pavlova are baked and completely cold, now's the time to start your no-churn ice cream. If you want to make these in advance, you can store them in an airtight container for up to a week. This is one of my favourite ice creams ever, and it's so simple. You don't need an ice cream machine to create it. I have some condensed milk here, which I've simmered for 3.5 hours. Let it cool completely, and this is a beautiful caramelized condensed milk that we have, which is going to be the flavor component for our ice cream. Place the condensed milk in. Sort of makes you want to dive in with a spoon, doesn't it? I'm going to whip this up a little bit, just until it's smooth, and then I'm going to add in some chilled cream. Vanilla bean paste. You can't have a caramel ice cream without salt. So a generous pinch of the Maldon Sea Salt. Just crush that in. And why not a little bit more? And that's going to balance the sweetness of the ice cream beautifully. Now I'm going to whip this up until it comes to a medium to firm peak. That means when we lift it with a spoon, it's not going to drip off. This is the consistency that we're looking for. You can see it holds beautifully on the whisk. Great time for a taste test. It's a good idea when you're creating the ice cream to freeze the bowl before you get started so it's nice and cold and your ice cream isn't going to soften too much. I'm going to place it in the freezer for about 10 to 15 minutes and then we can start the assembly. This is a super simple salted caramel sauce that's going to go with our ice cream cake. We've got some brown sugar, unsalted butter, vanilla bean paste, and some fresh cream. A generous pinch of the Maldon Sea Salt, and just break that up as you place it in. Now I'm going to bring this to a boil and we're going to boil it for 2 to 3 minutes until we have a beautiful golden brown colour. Once the caramel is ready, place it directly into a bowl, then cover the surface of the caramel with plastic wrap. Cool at room temperature. Now can I give you some tips with assembly? Your ice cream is going to want to melt very quickly. I recommend that you freeze your serving plate before you start. You'll also freeze the Pavlova pieces so they're very cold when you get started. I'm going to place a small amount of the ice cream on the plate. Don't expect the ice cream to be firm at this stage. It makes it easier to assemble the cake if it hasn't completely set. You're going to divide this ice cream into 3. You may have a little bit left over for your freezer. You have to work as quickly as possible. Don't push it too close to the edge. Before we put the next layer on, we're going to freeze that for 30 minutes. This has been in the freezer for 30 minutes. I'm going to drizzle some of our salted caramel on top. I'm going to spread that out. Place the next layer on. Just gently press it down. The ice cream should be firm enough now. Gently spread it out. We're going to place both the cake and the ice cream back into the freezer for 30 minutes before we finish the cake. We've had another 30 minutes in the freezer, ready for our salted caramel layer. Gently spread that around. Gently press it down. Make sure they're all lined up. Place our last layer of ice cream on top. The ice cream should be a little bit firmer at this stage. Once again, gently spread that out. At this stage, I recommend you place the cake back into the freezer. Now you can keep it in the freezer until you're ready to do the final decorations. It can even last in the freezer for up to a week. Once it's frozen, make sure you wrap it in plastic wrap. Now we're up to the exciting part, the finishing. Only start the finishing when you're ready to serve the cake. I have some roasted almonds here that are roasted 160 degrees Celsius in a fan-forced oven for approximately 10 to 15 minutes or until golden brown. I have some Easter eggs here, so any sort of Easter eggs is okay. If they're the little ones, just keep them whole. I've cut some with a serrated edge knife, so you can see, just so they crack unevenly. Perfect. I have a little bit of gold metallic, or you can use a gold luster. I'm going to put a generous portion of the Maldon Sea Salt in there and have a look at this sparkle. The flakes are perfect for this sort of application and they reflect light beautifully. A little bit of salted caramel to start. Sprinkle your toasted almonds, mainly down the centre. Place the eggs in the centre. Alternating a cracked egg with a whole egg. And we're going to finish with a touch of our beautiful gold Maldon Sea Salt. Just a little bit of a sprinkle, a little bit like fairy dust. It's so great because we've got that balance of sweet and salty. It wouldn't be perfect without the Maldon Sea Salt. The pop of flavour in your mouth when you get one of those beautiful salty flakes is what makes this cake divine.